In the early days of World War I, as the fronts in Europe were locked in stalemate, the conflict spread across the globe. One of the most unusual and less-known battles took place in German East Africa, far from the front lines of Europe. This is the story of the Battle of Tanga, an ambitious invasion that became a humiliating defeat for the British. German East Africa, today Tanzania, was a vast colony with strategic importance, particularly the coastal town of Tanga. Located 80 kilometers from the border of British East Africa, Tanga was a vital port town and the terminal for the Usambara Railway, which ran from the coast to the fertile slopes of Mount Kilimanjaro. In November 1914, British forces under the command of Major General Arthur Aitken launched an invasion of German East Africa. Their aim was to capture the port of Tanga and secure a foothold in the region. The British invasion was led by the Indian Expeditionary Force B, which included Indian and African troops, as well as British officers. The assault was meant to be a quick amphibious operation that would catch the Germans off guard. At the heart of the German defense was Colonel Paul von Lettow-Vorbeck, a brilliant and resourceful commander who knew the region well. Though outnumbered, his forces included a mix of Schutztruppe, Askari, and local militias, all adept to the harsh terrain. As the British and Indian forces prepared for the invasion of Tanga, the soldiers faced more than just the threat of its defenders. They also had to contend with an enemy far more insidious: the tropical diseases of East Africa. The force had been hastily assembled and sent to the region with little preparation for the harsh conditions they would face. Many of the soldiers, especially the Indian sepoys, were unaccustomed to the tropical diseases that plagued the area, such as malaria, dysentery, typhoid, and others. On November 2, 1914, HMS Fox arrived off the coast of Tanga. Captain Francis Wade Caulfield went ashore, demanding that the German flag be taken down. When his ultimatum was ignored, the British began their landing operation. The British forces landed at Tanga in 2 waves on November 3rd, one directly at the harbor and the other 3 miles east of Tanga. However, in a critical error of judgment, the British failed to secure their position before the Germans had time to react. Initially, the invaders encountered little resistance, but as the troops pushed inland, they soon realized the gravity of their mistake. The terrain was thick with palm oil plantations, and the tropical heat drained their energy. Even still, their advance was harassed by well-concealed German and Askari defenders. At noon on the 4th, Aitken ordered his forces to march on Tanga, and what seemed like a straightforward assault quickly turned into chaos. The advance was stopped dead in its tracks as the defenders opened fire from their camouflaged positions in the coconut groves and plantations, throwing the already exhausted British troops into disarray. In a bizarre twist, the British troops were also attacked by swarms of angry bees, giving it the moniker, the Battle of the Bees. While both sides suffered from the bees, it was the Indian battalions that bore the brunt of the attack. British forces were further demoralized when some battalions, particularly the 98th Infantry, scattered and fled in panic. By the end of the day, the British forces were in retreat. Their supplies were abandoned, and they were forced to make their way back to the transports under fire. The battle was a decisive German victory, with the British suffering nearly 1,000 casualties and the Germans under 200. In addition, the Germans captured huge amounts of crucial war material, allowing them to continue their resistance in East Africa. In contrast, the battle was a humiliating defeat for the British, and was soon recorded as one of the most notable failures in British military history. This was the first of many victories for Lettow-Vorbeck in East Africa, where he held off the enemy forces despite being outnumbered and under-resourced, earning him the nickname the Lion of Africa.